this lesson on playlist, we are going to be looking at the Because of Winn-Dixie novel study playlist. At the top of the page, you will notice that the teacher has given some information about the playlist, including the fact that all the actions should be completed in order, but that the students should feel free to move at their own pace. And she has told the students that there are check-ins throughout the playlist where they need to contact their teacher. In this example, we actually have 4 columns. In the first column, you will see it is labeled as actions. These are the actual activities that the students will be completing. You will notice that it's just a very general statement about what the activity is going to be about. You'll also notice that the teacher included little icons to represent that activity or that action. And as you scroll through, you will also see that when they are doing the same activity, for example, vocabulary and action, the teacher has used the same icon for that activity so that there is some consistency as you go through the playlist. Again, another example of that would be the independent reading. Anytime students see this little icon of a child reading a book, they know that this is their independent reading time in the playlist. The second column contains the directions. This is where you as the teacher outline exactly what you want the students to do during this action. So if we look at a few examples from this playlist, you'll notice that we're having the students watch a video. We're having them open a Google Jamboard and adding some information to that Jamboard. You'll notice the second action has the students read something and then do a short activity on quizzes. And as you scroll down, you can tell there's lots of links inside this playlist. There's lots of online activities for the students to do. If you notice for the independent reading, the kids are doing the offline activity of reading the book that they have. But then once they're finished, they're doing a Flipgrid reflection activity on what they read. Again, you'll notice as I scroll through, this is a multi-page document because it is actually a whole unit of study broken in to different sections. You'll notice that at some point there is a checkpoint that is highlighted in red, and it is instructing the kids to schedule a Google Meet with their teacher and to be prepared to answer these discussion questions at this point in their reading. And again, as I scroll through, you're going to see some more vocabulary activities, some more independent reading, some independent activities. For example, this one's on cause and effect. Again, the kids are going to watch a video on a cause and effect and do a Flipgrid activity. On the vocabulary and action activities, the teacher has actually recorded herself reading the sentence here. So if you have a child that has problems reading, they can actually click on this link and listen to the audio file. The teacher has also included some online activities made with TeacherMade. In the resources section of this lesson, there will be a how-to on TeacherMade. If you're not familiar with this website, it allows you to import images or PDF documents and make them interactive so students can actually complete those worksheets online and not have to print them and take a picture of them when they're done. It's very easy, and if it's things like math problems or those type of things, you can actually have TeacherMade grade it for you. So again, there will be a how-to on TeacherMade in the resources section of Module 3. Again, as you keep scrolling, there's another checkpoint. There's some checking for understanding. If you remember during our conversation about what was a playlist, we talked about how there should be some formative assessments built in along the way. Again, in this case, that would be chapter quizzes on the book. And then as you get down to the end, you actually have the project that you want your students to do. In this case, the teacher has created a document that lists different types of projects. If you remember, we talked about building in student choice when possible. So for this activity, it was a good place to let the kids have a choice on what they wanted their final project to be. In this case, they must complete a tic-tac-toe of the different activities in order to complete it. So they would have to do a minimum of 3 activities for their project. And then finally, there's a summative assessment on the actual novel itself at the very, very end. So again, just to review, the first column is just a brief statement about what the activity or action is going to be. The second column actually has the directions that are given by the teacher. So in the third column, you'll notice that you have a note section. This section allows you as the teacher and the student to actually type in notes to this document. The last column is for date completed. As the students finish activities, they will put in a date in this column, and that will allow you as the teacher to kind of keep up with how they are progressing through the playlist. So the next thing we probably want to talk about is how do you set your playlist up. I'm going to go ahead and open a new document and just show you some basics on how to do that. Again, we're working from a table, so when you want to insert the table, you're going to go to the Insert, go down to Table. You're going to make it 4 columns and however many rows you think you might need to start with, keeping in mind that you can add rows as needed. So we'll just start with a 4x6. If we bring up the example again that we just looked at, you'll notice that the columns are not equal. They are different sizes. You want to be able to type more in the directions column than you probably do in the other 3. So when you're setting up your table, you want to go ahead and try to size those columns how you think they should be. To do that, you click your mouse on the line until you get the double-headed arrow, and then you move your mouse whichever direction you want to resize the column. So again, that gives you a smaller space to type in the action and a larger space to type in your directions with 2 smaller columns for notes and the date completed. If you want to add color to your table, you just highlight the cells that you want color to be in. You go up to the paint bucket and click the color that you're choosing. Also want to show you how to add hyperlinks to your playlist. If you completed the HyperDoc lesson already, then you know how to do that. You can, of course, just paste those long URLs into the document, but it looks better and a little bit easier, I think, for the kids to navigate if you actually add true hyperlinks. So for our example, I'm just going to say, please watch video. I'm going to highlight the word video. I'm going to go up here and click on the link, insert link icon that looks like a chain link. It's going to bring up a box for me to paste my link into, and I'm going to hit apply. And now as the students are working through the playlist, they can actually click on those and it will take them to the actual video. Keep in mind, if you look down through here and you will see that there may be a document that they're having to open, maybe it's a Google Doc or a Google Quiz. Make sure that you have set up the permissions on those correctly so that anybody with the link can view those. Because you don't want your kids to have the playlist and then be denied access to a document that they need when completing the activity. Again, for all of these things that have been included in this sample playlist, for example, Jamboards and quizzes and TeacherMade and Flipgrid, there will be how-to documents or videos in the resource section of this module so that you can learn how to incorporate those in your classroom as well. Good luck as you begin making your own playlist for your students.